What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for checking in with me. Let me make my screen a little bigger so I can see. Spook Realm 4Q, you are first in the building as usual. Rod Justice had a question. I saw it says, big up Kenny P. Let me show the question. Have you ever gone to the excuse me, have you ever gone to the 9/11 memorial, the one at World Trade Center? Yesterday was the 24th anniversary of the tragedy at World Trade Center 9/11. Yes, I have been to World Trade Center many times. I said actually I was there a couple days ago. Um I never went to like the memorial to actually go through the whole exhibit, but I've been all through the area. Um, I was just in the Apple store. There's an Apple store in World Trade Center right there. I was just there a little while ago. So, quick question. I was kind of there, but not there. Um, I lived in Jersey City at the time of 9/11, and I can see the collapse, well, the aftermath of the collapse, right when it happened from my front steps of the building that I was living in. I actually saw it come down on TV, and I went outside and I could see the World Trade Center. And it was just a massive pillar of smoke. Just a terrible, unbelievable day. The most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my lifetime. Um, Spook Realm says, PSA, if you ain't a jive turkey, and I hope you're not, you jive turkey. There's a couple of them that be trying to sneak in on this channel, but we're going to get rid of you. They purchased the Epic True Story. My brother's name is Kenny. Yes, the link is in the description below of the book. Uh, and it's please, and he says, then assault the like button. Yes, please, if you get a chance, hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. I find, they say you have to say it to remind people, so I will keep saying it to remind people. And last but not least, big up to the Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on tonight and through the week. Um, okay. Let me scroll down quickly. Um, yeah, Gregory Netta says RIP to all the people who going through 9/11, 2001. Yesterday was the 24th anniversary. Yeah. Uh, I fortunately don't know anyone who passed away in that day, but like I said, it was right there. And I used to be in the World Trade Center every day, going back and forth to New York to New Jersey, going through the World Trade Center PATH station. I could have been there that morning. Um, Let me scroll down. DJ Quiet Storm, what up? MMA Crossfire, what up? Um, Jack Swagger, what up? Rasul Hassan, what up, KP? Did you like mini discs? Never use them. Please explain what are controllers. Controllers are just that. They are small machines that emulate a turntable and they control your music on a computer. So most of the time you'll have a program. Most people use Serato DJ Pro, used to be Serato Scratch, and some people use other programs. But you have music on your computer, like say iTunes. I don't even know if iTunes still exists, but if you have to have music on your computer, even though no, today you can even use it with streaming. But overall, you have music on your computer, you use this program, and then the controller is basically has two turntables and a mixer. They are really big ones that's the size of an actual two turntables, and there's really small ones. I like the small ones. And you put a song on one side, and then you can control it, controller. like a turntable, and then you can put a song on the other side and control it just like a turntable. You could put one song on both sides and cut back and forth. So it's basically controls the computer, your controller, and you use a USB cord. So without this USB cord, it's just really a piece of plastic. But once you plug the USB into your computer, it connects and now it can read the computer. Controllers are very popular too. I have had many of them. Patrick Y, what up? Terrell McMillan, what's good, KP? Much love, another Friday. I'm so happy to be here, man. Christopher Caldwell, what up? Ilroy, come down, Kenny Parker. Kenneth Smith, what's good? Um, let's see. MK Ultra, what's up? Um, let's see. JWoo72, what's up? Tracy, hey DJ KP, what's going on, Tracy? Um, I don't recognize this name, Ajax. Let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see it. Vancity, Ajax Vancity says, "What's up, KP? What's up, y'all? Yeah, what's good? I don't recognize that name. Are you new?" Sydney Rhodes, what's up? My Eaglewood, what up? My Eagle Wolf. I said my Inglewood. Inglewood. My Eagle Wolf. Matter of fact, so y'all can see it. I butcher people's names so bad on here. Please apologize if I butcher your name. Trying to move quick. Uh, Derek Mallory, big up for Minneapolis, St. Paul. Chef Daddy, what's up? Patrick Wise says Chilltown JC. Yes. Um, Jamil Live says, what happened to G Simone's new album? I have no idea. Sweet Goldilocks, what's up? Jason Wall, what a crazy week it's been, KP. For you personally or in the news? Uh, MMA says I visited Ground Zero in 2002. Really? How? That whole area was kind of sealed off, right? I don't know when they opened it back. It was hard to go down there for a while. It was smoke and poor air quality in that area for a few years. Kennard Roberts says, KP, what up, bro? Got myself back motivated. Dope. Listening to KRS song, Get Yourself Up. I haven't heard that in a while. Mike Rock says, just tuned in. What's the topic? 9/11? No, it's not really the topic. Somebody just mentioned 9/11, and I know next year for the 25th, they're really gonna do it up. Like I was saying, in my lifetime, of all the things that I've seen in the news, I saw the space shuttle explode. I saw the whole Ronald Reagan attempt. Uh, I'm trying to think of what else that was wild in the news growing up. Um, Seeing so many things. I think 9/11 is the most unbelievable thing that I've ever seen. I think COVID is up there too. Uh, but I think 9/11 is the most unbelievable thing in our lifetimes. I mean, I didn't live through Kennedy. I wasn't born yet for JFK, or I was too young for Martin Luther King, that kind of stuff. But I was too young for Watergate. That must have been wild. The President of the United States resigning. Um, Seeing a black president be elected to the White House is up there as well. That is something that most black people thought was impossible, and it happened. But I'm still putting 9/11 at the top of the pile. Mix Monster Memo. The rain controller is very dope. Yeah, there's some really dope controls. They're expensive too. Rod Justice says, yes, iTunes still exists. I use it all the time on the PC. Yeah, I thought it was Apple Music now or whatever. Uh Jason Wall said, did you play DJ Hero? I've never played any video game in my life. I have never played a video game. Maybe I played Pac-Man once. Somebody had a little game, maybe once in my life. Rod Justice says, I use Serato Scratch Live, but they have bad tech support, so I switched to Tractor Scratch. Yeah, because Serato Scratch Live, I believe, is discontinued. So I would imagine they have bad tech support. I had that first Serato box. Um, D Nice told me to get Serato way back in, when did I buy Serato? Like 2007? D Nice told me to get that. Um, Damn Arasuti, what up? We talked about Howie T in depth, goofy hip hop connoisseur, a few weeks back, being that he just passed it recently. And no, the answer is I have never met Hitman Howie T in my life that I know of. I would have loved to have met him. I enjoyed his music. Thought he was a super dope producer that didn't get mentioned enough. I loved his range, because he did special ed's music, which sounds nothing like Chub Rock's music, and he made big hits, classic records. So, uh, rest in peace to him once again, Brooklyn's own. But I never met him. This is hard. Chris Morales says, Kenny Parker, what is the absolute best DJ performance that you've heard in a song? Ah, man, that's well. First of all, you got to go. Well, the Grandmaster Flash and the Wheels of Steel is the first DJ performance. That was absolutely incredible. I don't know how many people there are old enough to remember when that came out, and it was in New York. They used to play that on the radio. Flash, Flash is good. Like the whole way he did like a little 7-minute party was incredible, and that cracked off the whole thing. And then Jazzy Jeff live at Union Square. I was just talking to Heather B about this last week. We was talking about Jazzy Jeff, and I was saying how I think it's on their first album, or was in their second album. Maybe it's just the second album. I'm not sure. Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince came to Union Square in New York, which was the hottest club, along with the Latin Quarter at that time. And New York is infamous for not trying to hear anybody that's not from New York. If you were not from New York in 1986, 87, you were getting booed. And Will Smith, Fresh Prince, and Jazzy Jeff from Philly came into Union Square, and Jazzy Jeff bodied that place so bad that he had the whole crowd going crazy, which is super hard to do. Those are my two best DJ performances that I ever heard on a song. Now, if you're talking about scratching hooks, which is a separate thing, I mean, Terminator X and Rebel Without a Pause, I thought that was incredible. Um, DJ Scratch has done some great scratching on records. And of course, the king of scratching on a record, DJ Premier. I believe that 10 Crack Commandments is DJ Premier scratching that record down the whole way. He did not sample it. And I believe he was going, uh, uh, like he cut that the whole way down. I think that's incredible. Um, And I think who's gonna hold the weight? I think he did that all the way through as well. That's incredible. Those are like my top. DJ Premier has so many though, but those are my top. But if you ask me like my top, my absolute, I'm going with Grandmaster Flash on the Wheels of Steel and Jazzy Jeff live at Union Square. Okay. Nev Edit Fisher says, I have no beef with controllers, but nothing beats the feel of spinning platters or vinyl under your fingers. I agree, but it depends on the situation. I've DJed in all kind of situations. And sometimes records sound, sometimes you're in a space. I've DJed in little clubs where there's a little space for the DJ. And if you had big turntables, you just couldn't do it. Carrying all those crates of records, when you're DJing out and about, that becomes a headache. I used to live in Jersey and pay for storage in New York just so I can have my records in New York. So when I had to do a party in New York, I would have to go to storage, get records, take a cab from storage to the club, rock the party, and then at like 4 o'clock in the morning, I had to get all my crates out of the club and take them back to storage. It was a headache. Um, and then live, uh, doing a show, BDP show, we rocked a lot of vinyl. But there's times when you're doing like big arenas or like big places with a lot of bass on the stage, you just can't use the vinyl because it vibrates. You can, but then you have to like turn the bass down on stage, and it's like a whole mix, and it's like a whole little blend that you got to get just right, or else it's gonna rumble. It's a lot. So yes, I love vinyl under my fingers, but there's a time and place where sometimes it could be a headache. Um, let's see. Ajax says, I've been watching for years. LOL. Sometimes live, sometimes rewind. Thank you so much, Ajax. I appreciate you. Uh, Need to know, Kenny, what's good with you? I am good, man. Um, let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Tracy says I was there in 2005. I guess you mean the memorial. Um, Rosmel says the 1977 blackout. That's random. Oh, of the wildest things you've ever seen? Oh, I lived through the blackout. I was outside during the blackout. Please get the book, y'all. I go into great detail about the blackout. I was a little kid, but I have blackout stories. Um, that was wild. Seeing I was in Brooklyn. We living in Brooklyn. Seeing Brooklyn during the blackout was crazy. That 77 blackout wasn't like any other blackout. New Yorkers had a blackout in 1965. It wasn't like that. New York had a blackouts in the 2000s. Nothing is like that 77 blackout. That was crazy. It was like July 11th or July 13th. It was like 90 degrees and the lights went out. It was crazy. Chaos. But I still put 9/11 over that. We've seen blackouts. Uh, Gregory Netter says the coronavirus and September 11th are the two most horrible news in the past 100 years. Let's see, 100 years. So you're talking 1925 to now. I would think dropping the atomic bomb on Japan was terrible. They dropped two bombs. I mean, they were at war, but each one of those bombs killed like 100,000 people, just like that. Civilians that weren't even in combat. They just dropped this on cities, and 100,000 people just vaporized. I think that's horrible. First of all, World War II, between I can't, I don't even want to say it and get flagged. Between the stuff that happened in Germany and Like I said, that bomb, I think that was terrible news. I'm trying to think past 100 years. That was bad. Um, I know Martin Luther King was a gigantic figure, and when he passed, or he was ended, that caused riots and everything. But I don't know if I would put that up there with September 11th. I don't know because I was too young. I would have to ask my parents, like, how did they feel? Um, I had once talked to an older woman about that, and she was saying that Martin Luther King was always putting himself in danger. And so they felt like it was just a matter of time before somebody got him. Um, that's what she was saying, how she felt about it. But yeah, I can. September 11th, coronavirus was wild too, y'all. That's something that we had never seen since probably the Black Plague or something. That was wild too. I would put those two up there, but I would put the atom bomb in 100 years. I would put the atom bomb up there. Um, First parole means you mean half black president. I mean, I don't believe in half. To me, Barack Obama is black. Um, let's see. Um, Mixed Monster says new Serato is crazy, K, with the stems and all. You'll love it. I have the new Serato, the latest version. I have never used the stems. I have DJ Algorithm Pro as well. Those stems are dope. Uh, I've used that. Stems is crazy, matter of fact. The way you can eliminate vocals and just have the instrumental, or just have an acapella and eliminate vocals. If we had that back in the day, music would be different. But I think it's good that we were limited. I think limited resources make for some of the most creative ideas. If we had the ability to sample any record and pick drums from any record and eliminate vocals from any record, I don't know if it would have been that creative. So in a way, I'm glad stems are just coming out now. And I don't even know if a lot of these new DJs would even appreciate it. Atari Kid 74, you have any stories about Tim Dog? Nah, I mean, I met Tim Dog a couple times. He was cool. I mean, I used to see Tim Dog out and about. I seen him in the studio. I was working in D&D with Heather B. I think that was 93, early 93, and Tim Dog, no, that may be 92. That was in 92, and Tim Dog came through. No, that's a lot. That was 93. We came to D&D in 93, and Tim Dog was doing something. He came through the studio and hung out. I've seen him, but I don't have any real stories. Like, I never chilled with Tim Dog. I used to just see him out and about. And if you guys saw my Said G interview on here, um, he claims that Tim Dog is still alive. So, um, Nevet Fisher says DJ Pro was very dope, and unlike Serato, they prioritize accessibility for visually impaired DJs who can't use a mouse. Oh, well, I like DJ Pro. I don't know if I like it better than Serato. I haven't used it as much, but I've used it on my iPad outside. I've DJed with my iPad outside, and I liked it. Um, let's see. CMC's techniques in class. What's good? Says love DJ Jazzy Jeff. He is the ish. Yes, he is. He is the DJ's DJ. Um, Paradise from X Clan says you went to see Jazzy Jeff, not the Fresh Prince. I mean, that's his opinion. I like the Fresh Prince too. Like, I'm not gonna disrespect the Fresh Prince. They had joints back in the '80s, man. I mean, he wasn't trying to be super lyrical like a Rakim or Kane, but that's okay. Like he had his style. And I like people to have different styles. I don't want everybody to sound the same. But for me personally, I like Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. That's just me. I mean, Paradise has his own opinion. Big up Paradise. He is a member, founding member of X Clan, but he used to run the Latin Quarters. He was the manager of the Latin Quarter. Uh, let's see. Kingdom Hip Hop Music. Sup, family? It's good, KP. Peace to everyone. Yes. Tori D says Terminator X Rebel Without a Pause. That was a ridiculous, man. We talked about that last week, and they were saying that Johnny Juice allegedly is the one who did the scratches and he didn't get the credit. But then somebody in the comments section said that Terminator X did do scratches, and then Johnny Juice came in afterwards and did some overdubs or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know how the story goes, but I've heard that Johnny Juice is not happy with his place in hip hop. But them scratches, Terminator X, rock and roll, that was ridiculous. Um, let's see. Jason Wall says, KP, do you ever do any tricks while DJing live, spinning around, cutting blindfold? No. No, I never do any tricks. I'm more focused on most of the time when I DJ, it was for a BDP show or club DJing for a party. Not really like a performance, like where I'd be spinning around and stuff like that. So most of 99.999% of the time when I DJed, it was about me playing something to make the crowd react. So it wasn't even about me most of the time. Especially when you're doing a KRS show, it's about him. This is a great question. Yo, it's kind of warm in here. I might just cut the AC on. Let's see if I can reach it. Y'all hold on a second, because I'm gonna slide this like this. And I'm gonna reach over here. And I'm gonna slide back. Y'all might hear the AC, but it's feeling kind of warm in my crib. It's kind of humid. All right, let me see something. Let me see if I got it back centered. Hold on, y'all. I'm not centered all the way. There you go. Make this big again. Sorry about that, y'all. This is kind of hot here. I think y'all can hear it. My air conditioner is like right there. And it's not even really that hot outside, but it's really humid in the New York City area. This is a great question, Ethan Sutton. You always have good questions. How has a past idol, someone you looked up to, disappointed you, and how did you react and overcome? Has an idol ever disappointed me? Um, I don't know if I would say. I'd have to think about that because I've met people whose attitude was a little conceited. That disappoints me to see um people who act like they're all that um, when they don't even have to act like that. That disappoints me. How do I react to that? I just keep it moving. If I see somebody say what's up or whatever, and they act like, they're feeling themselves, I just keep it moving. And the next time I see them, I don't really say anything. It's only been a handful. Um, I've been in the studio where I've been in the studio with legendary MCs who were not were surprisingly not fluent on a microphone in the studio. And I say that to say it took hours for them to do their verse. Hours. And I was surprised, and I think I was spoiled coming from working with KRS-One, who is very quick in the studio. So when I got to be in the studio with some other legends, and they were not even as quick as KRS, but extremely slow, I was a little disappointed in that. But it is what it is. Like, when you hit a record, you're not gonna know that it took 2 days for somebody to do 16 bars. You're just gonna hear the final result, and you're gonna be like, this dude is incredible. And that's why I like to go see MCs live, because I know about studio trickery. That's why I like to see you and see if you can do your rhymes live. If you're really nice, like the real greats, when you see them, they don't lip sync over the vocals, which I've mentioned on this channel before. I think is the absolute whack. It's in the top 2 or 3 things to me that's just the wackest in hip hop. Rhyming over the vocals. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you bring out a fire-breathing dragon on stage. I don't care if you stick a M80 in your ass and light it. I don't care. If you lip sync over the vocals, to me, your show is whack. And so I like to see certain people who people say are dope. I want to see if they're really dope when you see them. And I've seen just about everybody from back in the day, not now. But I've seen just about everybody live multiple times. So yeah, that's my answer. That's a great question though. Mike Rocks, remember that song? Where were you when the lights went out in New York City? That's the Tramps. That record came out not long after. Yeah, Patrick Wise just said the same thing. Do you remember that song, KP? I have that song. That's the Tramps, I believe. Uh, Let me see something. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. CMC's technique in class, once again, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. You are humongously appreciated. Says, speaking of DJs, DJ Scratch never got the appreciation for his production skills for Busta's 5 platinum albums he produced. Um, yeah, people don't really talk about Scratch as much as a producer, and he has produced some dope records. He did a dope LL record too, Ill Bomb, that I liked. He did a PMD, he did a couple joints on the PMD album too. I think he did Rewind, Bring Her Back Home, Rewind. I think that was on the 4th album. But yeah, let's pick up DJ Scratch right now for his production, and big up Busta Rhymes, who just got I think got a VMA Lifetime Achievement Award. Big up Busta Rhymes, that's my brother. Big up DJ Scratch, that's my brother. I know DJ Scratch since '89. Um, and his scratching is, for me, he's the best uh turntablist I've ever seen. Ilroy, thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Says Kenny, who was the first MC to start saying the word dope on records? Your brother is one of the first I can remember. That's a great question. Because when I heard the song Dope Beat, I had never heard anyone really, I don't know if anyone ever used that in a record before. I'm not going to say KRS is the first BDP, but I don't remember anyone saying dope. I'm pretty sure somebody has. But when he said we got a dope beat, that term was not common when he said it in '87. I remember that. That term was not a common term. Somebody might have said it before him, but he was very early, Elroy. I'm not going to say he was the first because I don't know, but he was very early. Like you said, he was early. And that was not a common term when he said it. Verse Pro says you don't get flagged for saying those words. Don't even trip. No, I did get flagged. Somebody, not me, but one of the people guests on this channel said something along those lines, and I got flagged for it. And I had to edit that piece out of the video. So I don't know what words or keywords to get flagged, but I try as much as I can to um, watch how I say certain things, because that algorithm, they'll bury you, man. Ilroy says the blackout helped start hip hop from all the stolen equipment. Yeah, I saw Grandmaster Caz say that. Um, After that New York City blackout, you could buy anything that you wanted on the street. Everything was for sale. Yo, people went nuts. They destroyed the hood was destroyed. Um, oh, I think I dug up a can of worms with this one. Mike Rock says, "You are what your father is." I don't know if that's true, but he holds the seeds. So Barry is Kenyan. I don't know, because I've seen people with black fathers and white mothers that look dark. You would not say that. I mean, I've seen people with white fathers and black mothers. White father, black mother. And if you saw them, you would not say they're white. You would be like, that's a light-skinned black person. So, I mean, maybe legally some people say that. I don't know. So Barack is Kenyan. That's cool. Um, he was born in America. Now that's going to be allegedly, or watch the comment section on that one. He's American of African descent. I don't know. I never thought. I never thought someone who looked like Barack Obama would ever be president. Verse Pro says if he's black, he's white too. Well, he's mixed with a few things. You could say that about a whole bunch of people. Spook Realm says, "Does anybody else notice that KP is letting his stash grow in?" Yeah, I was experimenting to see if I want to do it or not. So we'll see. That's funny though. Jason Wall says that F Compton beat was hard for 92. Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, big up to said G. Um, Mixed Monster says said G interview was mind blowing. Thanks for that. Thank you so much. And he did a follow up. I hope you saw both of them. He did two. He did a follow up to some things that he said in the first one. This is funny. He must be a parent now, because he don't understand. Parents just don't understand. I wonder how he feels about that. That's a great. Wonder if I asked Will Smith, now that you're a parent, do you feel that parents don't understand? That'd be a great question to ask him. MK Ultra says Brand New Funk was fire. Yes, that's probably my favorite song on that album. Um, MK Ultra says Fresh Prince was dope. Will Smith not so much. Will Smith made hits. Will Smith was a lot more commercial. Yo, that album with Getting Jiggy With It album, that sold 6 million copies. That's crazy. Um, I have an epic fail, Will Smith. Maybe I'll tell it one day. I have an epic fail, Will Smith. Now that you mentioned it, I should do it. But yeah, the Fresh Prince was more traditional hip hop, but I like the Fresh Prince. Um, oh, I didn't know this, Jack Swagger. Johnny Juice is now the official DJ for Public Enemy since DJ Lord joined Cypress Hill. Word, DJ Lord stepped off. Boy, wow, that's I did not know that. Brandon Yakubian says when Terminator X got burnt out from the music biz, he bought an ostrich farm. Wow. Um, I didn't even know that's the music biz will burn you out. No rant today, y'all. I'm not ranting today. But if y'all be asking me these questions, that'll force a rant out of me, and it doesn't take much. But yeah, I could see him being burnt out. Jimhari de Trini Jam. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Says, what happened to the Spicer pick in the background? The plaques are impressive though. Oh, thanks. No, I moved my uh setup over because my older setup from a few months ago, that's been the setup for the past few years. I have I moved my SP1200 up over there. Like I have a bunch of I'm looking at it right now. I have a bunch of floppy disk. As you guys know, I'm cleaning up old beats that I have and I'm putting up on the channel. My beat series, I hope all of you have checked out the beat series. I'm dropping another one on Sunday morning. I'm trying to do them on Sunday mornings. I skipped last Sunday, but I'm dropping one this Sunday. So I have a lot going on over there. So I moved over to this side and I'm going to be over here for a little while until I finish um till I finish I don't know how long I'm gonna be finished because there's a lot of music to do over there, so I'm gonna be over here for a while. But yeah, my Jimmy Spicer pick, I should move there. He inspired me so much. That's why I have a picture of him up. Uh, Spook Realm says KP looking like Uncle Kenny with that stash. He Uncle Kenny from here on. MMA says warm in September. Wow. Yeah, it's a little warm. It was 80 degrees today in New York. It's going to be like 80s for the next couple days. Henry Sedillo says, DJ Kenny, how did you maintain your DJ position all these years? People come and go in this hip hop game. Um, well, it's not easy, but expanding, DJing more different parties. Like a lot of the guys from the 90s, they only DJ old school parties. So that keeps you in a certain box. Me, I decided to branch out and DJ contemporary parties, college parties. Um, and so I get more work, but you're playing more new stuff. So that's basically what it is. I've decided to DJ and play new stuff. I've DJ parties where people don't know my history at all. I'm just DJ Kenny. That's my name. DJ Kenny. Can do you want to do this party for certain colleges? Like I DJ at Columbia University quite often. Big up Columbia University. Um, and most of the people there, they have no idea of my background. I'm just a DJ who DJs. And in there, it's all kind of music. Classic music, new hip hop, a lot of pop music, reggaeton, reggae. I play it all, and that's allowed me to work more. Like, some people are just like, I refuse to play new music and I'm not keeping up with this new stuff, and that's fine. I just chose to do it. And most of the music I play, I don't even like. I would say 85% of the songs I play in a new party, I don't even like them. But that's the gig. It ain't about what I like, it's about what they like. So if they want to hear these particular songs and this gets the job done, the promoter's happy, the crowd is happy, I get paid, everybody's happy, then this is what I'm playing. That's a great question, Henry Cedillo. Um, let's see. Mix Monster says Mr. Mix was dope too. Mo Love, Cash Money, Howie T, Mix Master Ice. Yeah, there's great DJs all over the place. That's what I'm saying. That's a very hard question to answer. But if you force me to make a answer, that's the answers I'm going with. Gregory Nettis says, "What's the friendliest celebrity you ever met?" Drew Barrymore. I tell a story all the time. We met Drew Barrymore at Arsenio Hall show in '92 when Sex and Violence album first came out. And we was backstage and Drew Barrymore came back there and she was like, they introduced hi, with Boogie Down Productions. She was like, I love Boogie Down Productions. She was so sweet. I love y'all. I love Boogie Down Productions. That's what she was saying. And Chris gave her a copy of the Sex and Violence album, and she was just so sweet. And ever since then, I always root for her. Like over the years, I always root for Drew Barrymore um, to be successful because of how nice she was to all of us back in '92. Um, there's been rappers that's been cool, but most of the rappers that I met that were the coolest were already friends with my brother, So, like Biz, I met Biz. Me and Biz was like best of friends after knowing each other for 10 minutes. But, he was friends of my brother. So, people like that. Chuck D, first time I met him, he was super cool, friend of my brother, So that way, I get love as an extension of being, a friends of my brother. But people that I met Katy Perry. I DJ'd a New Year's party, and Katy Perry was there with her friends eating, and she was super nice. Shout out to Katy Perry. And she requested some super hardcore hip hop. I was shocked. I'm not even gonna tell you all the songs that she requested, but she was requesting like super trap griminess. This had to be like, how long ago was this? 8 years ago, maybe 10 years, maybe like 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, I DJ'd a New Year's party and Katy Perry was there, and she was so nice. And you know what else? At this same party, um, I'm not gonna say his name, but a very big Latin bachata star was there. Say it like that. And he was very stuffy and was like, seemed like he was feeling himself. Like Katy Perry literally called me over to her table to ask me if I can play some songs for her. This guy sent one of his entourage over not to play a song, but to play his record. Like his entourage came over to ask me, "Do you have any of his songs?" And I looked through my list. I had a few of his songs, and he was like, "Can you play this one for him?" So he sent his entourage over to ask me to play his record, so he could sit there. And I threw on his record, and he just sat there in all of his glory. And I was just like, this dude is sitting here listening to his own music, feeling himself, and Katy Perry is trying to hear some other hardcore trap. It was just such a contrast, and they both were sitting like 10 feet away from each other, and I was about 10 feet away from them. So it was just crazy. Um, this party was crazy, y'all. Paul McCartney was there. I didn't meet him. Um, and it's funny because he was sitting at the bar and I was playing a bunch of different music. I remember playing Michael Jackson, and I was playing Michael Jackson, and one of the workers came over to me and said, "Yo, Paul McCartney is sitting at the bar," and I was like, "Is he nodding his head?" And they was like, "No." I was playing Michael Jackson, and I know they had like a little feud. So I don't know if maybe Paul McCartney wasn't feeling my DJing or he wasn't feeling Michael Jackson, but he definitely was not moving his head at all. But anyway, that's a great question, Gregory Nettis, and I've answered it very long, and now I'm super far behind. Um, Gurkanet said, I heard Guru was the friendliest MCs ever. Yeah, I mean, Guru, Preem, there's a lot of super cool people. Like Guru was, that's my man. Um, I knew Guru and Preem before they knew KRS. I knew quite a few people before they met KRS. Because like I said a lot on this channel, I used to be out and about, and I used to see everybody. I used to see Guru all the time. One time I got Guru into a party, they wouldn't even let him in. I was, there's a place called Mars. It was on 14th Street and West Side Highway. This is like 1990 or 90. This is when they had Manifest was out. And I remember I was coming out of the party and Guru was trying to get in and he was mad. And they was like, yo, I was like, yo, what's up? And he was like, yo, they fronting on me at the door, blah, blah, blah. And actually, I knew one of the security guys because I went to high school with one of the guys who was doing security. And I turned to him, I was like, yo, this is, a rapper, they have a song, blah, 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 could you, do me a favor and let him in? And he was like, sure, Kenny. And they let Guru in the party because I was friends with the bouncer. And that's one of like my early times knowing Guru, but I've seen him a million times. Yeah, he was super cool. There's quite a few people that's super cool. Um, let's see. Gergenes says Mr. Cheeks from the Lost Boys is really friendly. He's mad cool. The times I've seen him, he was super cool. I don't know if I would put him up on the friendly tier, but he was mad cool. Some dudes are just cool. You see them, they have love. But when you say friendly, I'm trying to think of who is like friendly. Most of the friend, like I said, most of the people that's friendly to people that's not rappers. Rappers have a certain level of cool. They're only gonna be but so friendly. They still, especially when you see them out and about, they're in character. So, they're not gonna be like, yeah, they're not gonna be screaming. They're just gonna be cool, but they're friendly, but they're still cool. Um, I would have really like, who's super nice? Queen Latifah is a sweetheart. Um, most of the women rappers that I met, but Queen Latifah, I'm gonna shout her out. I'm gonna shout Moni Love too. Sweethearts, man. Um, First time I met Moni Love, real quick, this is a friendly story. I met Moni Love in that same club Mars that Guru couldn't get in. Around that same time, I was in the party, me, Miss Melody, D Nice. I think it was everybody from BDP except KRS-One. We went to this party and D Nice was there and he introduced me. He said, yo, this is De La Soul. And he introduced me to Paz and Maceo. And then he said, this is Q-Tip. And he introduced me to Q-Tip. So it was Paz, Maceo, and Q-Tip. He introduced me to them and some other people. This is in 89. So fast forward like a year later, or less than a year later, but in like 90, I was now the DJ of BDP. And we did a show in London at Brixton Academy, sold out. And it was the first time, and by this point, Ladies First had blown up with Latifah. She was on the bill. And this was the first time Moni Love was coming back to England since she had blown up. So it was a big deal. Everybody was waiting to see her. And it was sold out. And I remember we were in sound check and Moni Love came in. And I was like, oh, shoot, there go Moni Love right there. But I was like, let me, not bother her or anything. Let me just do my sound check. And she looked at me and she walked right up to me and was like, don't you act like you don't know me. I met you in Mars, in Club Mars with De La Soul. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. And it was like, I didn't mean to be funny. I just, didn't want to bother you. And she was just like, no, I met you already. Don't act like that. And, from that point on, that's been my girl. So shout out Moni Love. They're super friendly. Um, this conversation just went in a whole other direction, but it's funny because you guys be like triggering stories in my mind. And now I'm super far behind. So what I'm gonna do is scroll down. Benny Doyle, scroll down. We don't see Benny Doyle, but MK Ultra says EST is definitely dope and underrated. Absolutely. He was in my list of best, probably best Philly MCs for a minute. Still is, and a dope songwriter. He wrote a bunch of pop records, I believe, for like, it's like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, something like that. But EST, the Act Nicholas one, who I've had a chance to meet, super dope MC out of Philly. Um, Let me scroll down a little bit because I'm behind now. Green Talent said, what year was the blackout in New York? 77. Um, Jack Swagger says, KP bringing back the stash. Next comes the hat and the starter jacket. Yeah, I'm being in the 90s now. Wow, y'all going in. Kenny should get a Tom Selleck Magnum PI mustache. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, Jack Swagger says, KP, we need more epic fails. It's been a minute. Yes, I have a couple more coming. I just haven't filmed them, but I already know what I'm gonna do. I got a couple of good ones. Um, Let me scroll down because I'm way behind, y'all. Way, way behind. Hard Cole said, were you too afraid to say hello to Paul McCartney? I would have never spoke to Paul McCartney on my own. Never. But where he was he was by the bar, so he was not where I can see him. So I didn't even see Paul McCartney. They just told me that he's right around, like he's behind a wall. They said Paul McCartney was here. I didn't see him, but I wouldn't have spoke to him. I wasn't going to speak to Katy Perry. She spoke to me. Um, let's see. Mixed Monster says, do you have any Shock G stories for us, KP? I have an epic fail on here called West Coast. Go back and look. I think I did it a year and a half ago. It's called Epic Fails West Coast. I have a great Shock G story on there. Def Rocker says, Drew Barrymore was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Yeah, she does come from Hollywood royalty. And she was in E.T. as like, what, 6 years old or something? Like the biggest movie at that time of all time. But she was mad cool, man. I never forgot her. Wow, Ann says, I met Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick. Dougie was super nice and Rick was super rude. I've never met Slick Rick. I mean, I met him just, hey, how you doing? But never spoke to him really. Dougie is family. So I know that everybody on this channel got a chance to hear the audio I put up of a private party with KRS-One and Dougie Fresh from, I think it was 97. I was on the wheels and on the SP1200. So on this channel, I put it up about 4 months ago. KRS-One and Dougie Fresh live in 97. I know everybody heard it, but for those that's new to the channel, please go back and check it out. Dougie Fresh is family. MMA says, shout out to Katy Perry. Yeah, man. Patrick Wise says, King Yellow Man is super friendly and nice. Met him in 83 when he was the biggest dancehall artist in the world. Invited my friends and I backstage and offered us fruits. That's dope. I actually have a Yellow Man story. And Patrick Y, don't think you're gonna escape without telling us how you was able to carry that box in the back of the 2 train without getting robbed. I'm still on you, Patrick Y. Yellow Man, I remember we was in an airport going somewhere. This is back when Chris used to fly, so this had to be pre-93. This had to be like 92 or 91. We all in the airport and we saw a guy, light-skinned guy with long dreads down to his feet. And I said to Chris, look at that fake ass Yellow Man over there. And we started laughing. And then as we got closer, we was like, oh, Oh shit, it is Yellow Man. And he recognized Chris because came over and they spoke, and they had like a great greeting. And Yellow Man gave KRS the blessing, and it was all good. But the Yellow Man don't even know that we was cracking on him like 30 seconds earlier, calling him a fake Yellow Man, and it was the real Yellow Man. That's happened to be a few times. Um, Expensive. If you could work with anyone who is alive but isn't hip hop, who would you work with? Wow. Most of the people that I would want to work with that's alive, I actually want to learn from. Like I would love to learn from Stevie, you know. Um, Most of the other heroes that I have, like Bob Marley, Prince, Quincy, they had passed. Stevie would be the person that I would want to work with, but just to learn from. Um, Production wise, hip hop wise, I just want to learn. Like I would love to Dr. Dre. I would love to work, to be a student under him, see how he makes his approach to making hits, how he mixes records. I love Eric Sermon. I would love to chill with him. I would love to work with him. Um, More producers, not really rappers. Uh, I love Erica Badu. That's like my pound for pound favorite singer of the modern era. I would love to work with Badu. Um, yeah, that's the list. There's like people like Hove and Nas, but that's obvious. You know, a Rakim type MCs, but it's not really MCs. Uh it's working with producers. Um, Hold on, y'all. CMC, once again, thank you so much. Says, if you can speak on it, did Biz ever discuss Master Ace's Me and the Biz, whatever he liked, disliked it? No, I've never. It's funny. Me and Biz used to talk about so much hip hop and what he liked and did like. We used to talk a lot. He may have mentioned that, but I don't remember why. I know Master Ace said that Biz was supposed to be in the video, but Biz didn't show up or something, so they got the doll. I think, and I'm not sure about this. I'm not going to put that out there, but I think there was some tension with Biz and Cole chilling around that time. But I'm not, he never said that to me, but I kind of feel like there was some tension there. And that might have been the reason why Master Ace went ahead and did the record himself. But only Master Ace would know because I'm just speculating from what I heard. But no, me and Biz never talked about that. But big up Master Ace. That's the homie right there. Super cool, friendly. We had mutual friends. The times that I met him, seeing him, he was never on some super juice crew, you know, eye roll. He was just super cool. Shout out to Master Ace One and graffiti artist Ace One. Um, nah, we didn't talk about Master Ace. Let's see. Dartmouth says, do you allow song requests? I don't really care for it, but it's not like you allow, because they just bombard you. And you're DJing in a club setting, unless you're somewhere where they can't reach you, like way up somewhere, they'll just walk up on you and just start rattling off shit. So it's not so much as you allow. And if the song makes sense, I'll play it. When I get to it, I'll get to it and I'll play it. It depends. It depends on how you ask me. It depends on what song it is. I'm not a fan of song requests, but I'll tolerate it. Plus, I found that you get a feel for what's hot by getting song requests, because like you can have a bunch of new songs could come out, but you may or may not know what's really the hot fire song. But if enough people keep coming up to you saying, "Can you play this? Can you play this? Can you play this? Can you play this?" Then you'll be like, "Yo, I'm getting a lot of requests for this song." There's songs that I got requests for that I necessarily wasn't gonna play, but because I got so many requests for them, I threw it on and blew the whole roof off the place. I'm like, oh, thank goodness I played this. I wasn't even gonna play it, but because people keep requesting it, it gives me a feel. So that's the only reason I would say song requests have value, is that you can get a feel for what's hot. But I don't really love it. No DJ does, but people, they don't care. They'll just rush you, man. Um, MMA says great memories, Kenny. Yes. Talking about Latifah and Moni Love, and yeah, man. Patrick Wise says, I can tell the queen is a sweetie. Always had a crush on her. She's been great ever since the first day I met her, and I go into great detail in the book about her. Um, Baruque, I'm sorry if I butcher your name. I'm sorry. Says, I could see her checking you for not saying hello. Yeah, but I didn't want to, uh, I didn't want to, be presumptuous and just walk up on her. And you got to imagine, she was on fire. This is when Ladies First and Buddy was out, like at its peak. So she was on fire when I saw her. And that reminds me of another story of somebody who was super nice woman. We did a show in 95, and the opening act was a young 15-year-old girl named Monica. And I remember her sound engineer used to be a sound engineer for BDP, so it was a little connect there. But I remember they introduced her. This is when she had just one of those days. She came up and we introduced. She was super sweet. And but the thing was, they had to wait till BDP finished doing sound check so they could do their sound check. And our sound check is very elaborate because we want to make sure the sound is absolutely the way we wanted it. So it took a while. So after our sound check was over, it was time for her sound check, and she was waiting the whole time. So she's trying to set up, but I'm still taking my needles and stuff off of the turntables, packing up my stuff. And she came up and was like, "Come on, man, hurry up. Like, I'm trying to do the sound check. Hurry up." 15-year-old Monica was yelling at me because I was taking too long to pack up my stuff. And I was like, sorry, sorry, sorry. I grabbed my stuff and I stepped off so she could do her sound check. So she was very nice and friendly. I love this conversation because it brings up memories of people. Um, Green Talent says, I'm still loving the Epic Fails episode of NWA. That's always going to be my all-time favorite. Thanks. Yeah, that was funny. Um, MK Ultra says, RIP Shock G. Yes, absolutely tragic death. Sad. Yes, man. And I'm not even going to go into a whole drug speech on this channel, but we lost so many great artists. So many. Not just people in general that we lost, family members and loved ones, but just talking about music, we lost so many great artists just in recent times. Shock G was mad cool. Big up to the whole Digital Underground. Big up DJ Fuse. Big up Money B. Super cool. Carlton says, peace to Kenny Parker. Peace. Engage says, I have hung out with Slick Rick. He is mad cool and just real with things. Big up Slick Rick. Like I said, I never chilled with him. Um, Answers, I've met Heavy D and Pete Rock too. They were both dope. Yes. Pete Rock was on this channel. I know you guys saw the interview, but for those that didn't, Pete Rock did a dope interview on this channel. I was cool with Heavy D too. Big up Trouble T. Roy. I met Heavy D, I believe, at the Self-Destruction recording, and they were recording Self-Destruction. I met Heavy D, and I met Trouble T. Roy. Mad cool brother. Um, Rest in peace to him. Beyond the Matrix, you're late. What's up? Uh, Beyond the Matrix says Prince was an amazing all-around musician and businessman. Prince was a musical genius. And I don't use that word often, but Prince is a musical genius. Was. And we lost him the same way. Yeah, I might concur with this. I still have Stevie as the absolute all-around GOAT of music, and he is blind. Wow, long live Mr. Wonder. Yeah. Overall, as a performer, as a musician, as a creator, innovator, singer, longevity, Stevie is the all-around GOAT. I concur with that. CMC says Eric Sermon and KP produced tracks would be a complete takeover. I would love it. Um, Gregory Ness says Eric Sermon is another friendly MC. He's always been friendly with me, but like I said, I love E Double and Parrish. Big up PMD too. Like I said, those are also friends of my brother. So, you know, he probably would have been cool regardless. But I'm just saying, I look at people who are friends of my brother a little bit differently than people I meet that are not friends of my brother that's friendly to me. Casey says, Kenny, do you have any Andre 3000 stories? I have never met 3000, although I've seen him a couple times in New York City. He used to, I don't know if he still does have them. I used to DJ in a club on Spring Street in the what area is that? It's not Lower East Side. It's called NoHo, North of Atlantic. I'm gonna say Lower East Side, LES. I used to DJ in a club in LES, Spring Street, a few years back, and around the corner, they said that 3000 had an apartment around the corner in New York. And people were saying that the bouncers were saying they seen 3000 walking around. And I was like, word, 3000 is walking around. I didn't believe them. And I was going to the club and I was going into a store, and 3000 was right there coming out the store, just regular New York. And he had shades on. And I remember looking at him. I didn't say anything to him. I didn't want to bother him. He looked like he was, going somewhere. But I remember thinking to myself, come on, 3000, like nobody ain't gonna recognize you with shades on. Like that was the worst disguise ever. Like he looked like he was trying to be incognito, but he was out and about. But I'm like, them shades ain't doing it, 3000. I remember thinking that as I was coming in the store and he was going out. I was like, nah, that ain't it. That's the crazy thing I always say about New York. You could just be walking around New York and see all kind of celebrities. I did mention this, I think, on the channel. I saw Q-Tip last Friday, just chilling in his city, eating, just sitting down, chilling. I was like, is that you? He was like just chilling right there. Um, But yeah, so I've seen 3000. I saw him actually a couple times in that neighborhood, but that was the first time I saw him. But I never spoke to him. Carlton says, Yo, Kenny, I love your show, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. For those that's new to the channel, just checking in, this is the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesday, Friday. Um, Mm. Spook Realm says Adam Sandler is a joke. He let me hang with him, then sued UMass Dartmouth for breach of contract and got an extra 20K for it. He didn't even hook me up and I almost got fired. Oh, he let you hang with him and then said because you hung with him, it breached the contract and he got extra money and didn't break you off? Damn, Spook Realm. Wow. Let's see. We was talking about this last week, CMC. Master Ace's Slaughterhouse is a hip hop classic. Absolutely. I used to pump the mad ones, mad all the time. Dartmouth said it is disrespectful to any DJ to ask for a song request. No, I wouldn't use the word disrespectful, but it's annoying, especially when a DJ is doing his mix and he's in his mix, he's trying to do his mix, he's trying to get a connection with the crowd, and you just come along on your own selfishness and be like, I don't care what's going on, I don't care what you're trying to do, I don't care about what the crowd is listening to. I want to hear my song right now. That is rude. But it's such a normal thing when you're DJing, you almost have to accept it because no matter what you say, they're coming. Um, let's see. This is odd. Hard Cold says early Queen Latifah with those two joints. I don't know what those two joints are. I would have stepped to, I would have stepped to no matter what she was into. I would have dared her to turn me down. I knew people who knew what she was into back then. You would have dared her to turn you down. That sounds a little aggressive, hard cold. You would have stepped to her no matter what she was into and dared her to turn you down. That's real aggressive, bro. I just gotta say that's a bit um hardcore. Theo Sanders says, Yo, KP, were you aware of Money Love when she came out with I Can Do This? No, I don't know if that was before Ladies First, but Ladies First and Buddy is how I discovered Money Love. But apparently I met her before that. So Jason Wall, thanks for this. This is why this channel is dope, because we get a lot of fact checking and it's wonderful. Says KP, according to the net, the word dope, when used as a slang to mean excellent or good, was first used in the song Money by Jimmy Spicer in 91. Yo, man, them boys is dope. This record is dope. Wow. 91. That's 6 years before KRS-One said it. I don't remember that. Dollar Bill Money. Oh, that's a Cash Money Money. Is that the one? Oh, that's Dollar Bill, y'all. I don't remember, excuse me, I don't remember the song Money. Um, but if Jimmy Spicer was the first one, that's 81. I was out and about in the early 80s. I didn't really hear people saying dope. They were saying fresh. This is fresh, that is fresh. I don't remember dope until later on. But if Jimmy Spicer said it, then he said it. Thank you so much. That's why this channel's dope, because we get to the bottom of things. Um, yeah, explicit. R.I.P. to all the great artists who've passed, man. All the great artists who've passed, either accidentally, through drugs, through crime, through sickness. And I say every day, I am so happy to be here, be alive, man, and have lived this long and had the experiences that I've had in the genre called hip hop, which I love dearly. Um, I'm a fan. I'm still a fan of hip hop. I can't believe it. Girl Guinness said my favorite epic fail Kenny did was Onyx. When they screamed Onyx, and Kenny fell down and got help from his girl to help me up. Did I say that epic fail, or did I just tell y'all that story? Oh, that was about the tunnel. That was barely survived the tunnel. Yes, if you those that didn't see that epic fail, the tunnel. I got ran over by Onyx and almost got trampled. Oh. Patrick Watts says, KP, remember the song For the Money by True Mathematics where the guy was rapping on the phone? No, I don't remember that song. Um, Let me scroll down a little bit. I'm a little bit behind, but not too bad. I'm a little behind, but I'm not terrible this week. Um, Theo Sanders says, I still think Prince stood out more because of his diversity. Funk, pop, soul, pop, rock, dance, etc. Stevie is definitely one of the best ever, but Prince, man, another level. Nah, but see, I think Stevie did funk, soul, pop. I don't know about rock, but he did dance music, he did funk, he did soul, and he was doing it in the 60s. He was huge in the 60s, iconic in the 70s, iconic in the 80s, even huge in the 90s when he did the soundtrack for Jungle Fever. That song, These Three Words, one of the great ballads ever. Um, Prince is up there too. Those are my two most talented artists ever to me. Prince and Stevie are just the top of the pile, man. I mean, there's other great artists, but Prince and Stevie I consider musical geniuses. I have Stevie slightly ahead of Prince in some ways. Those are like 1A and 1B, though, for me. Let me scroll down a little more, a little more, a little more. Um, this is funny. Killer Smith says, Eric Sermon had me laughing. First of all, Eric Sermon is mad funny. If you ever watch his interviews, he's funny and he's not trying to be funny. He's just the way he talks and tells stories are hilarious. Says he had me laughing about Slick Rick, basically saying he's really like that posh English-ish. When you hear him say crumbs, he really means it. Crumbs. What song was that? He said crumbs. Shout out to Slick Rick. Um, One half of the Doyle brothers is in the building. G Doyle, bless up, y'all. Just got in, out with the fam. Glad I caught the last 15 minutes of the live. Big up, G Doyle. One half of the brothers. Um, let's see. Let's see what else. Beyond the Matrix is KP. I watched the Yo MTV Raps performance of We In There with my youngest son. That was fire. Thank you so much. Big up Ed Lover, Dr. Dre, T Money. Ed Lover is another family member. Um, yeah, that was dope. MTV Raps. I remember that. Yo, that was. Can you believe 92? That was 33 years ago, man. How did 33 years just go by like that? Engage VR YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel once again. Salute, Kenny. Do you have any recorded radio shows from back in the day? I think we all back in the day recorded tapes. I recently found one from 86. I got to try to save it. You better. No, I don't have any more of my old tapes. I used to tape Red Alert every week, week after week after week. And I used to tape the Awesome Two. Shout out to Special K and Teddy Ted. I used to tape them in New York. I don't have any of those tapes anymore, sadly. But if you got a tape from '86, you got to digitize that. All that stuff is gone, man. Once the tapes are gone, then my memories are gone. It's over. But to answer your question, no, I don't have any of them tapes anymore. That sucks. Um, Theo says, when people ask for requests, I tell them to write it on $100 bill. That's crazy. I once got $100 tip to play Big L. I think it was Big L in the middle of a pop party. This is like a top 40 party. And it was about 150, 200 people in there. It was a small spot, but 200 people packed this place. And it was a top 40 place. So it's like Justin Bieber, you know, type music in that realm. A lot of dance music. And in the middle of playing these records, some dude came with $100 bill. So I'll give you $100 to play Big L. And I'm like, I wasn't even gonna take his money. I was like, man, I can't throw Big L on right now. I don't know what I was playing, but it probably was something like Katy Perry. It was something along the lines of that. It was like straight dance music. And then I was thinking to myself, the guy was literally begging me to take his $100. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And I didn't have a microphone. So there was no way to really transition. So it kind of was just like, I let the record fade out, and then I just threw on Big L in the middle of this party. And people were just like, okay. You could see they were like, all right. And they were kind of looking at me, but I was like, yo, I got $100. I'm gonna let this rock. And when it's over, I'm gonna go back to whatever we was doing. And as soon as it was over, I threw on some record. I don't know what I threw on. Uh, but I was right back, back to what it was. But yeah, I once got $100 to I'll tell y'all another real quick story about tips. This same party I told you that Katy Perry was at, I did that party like 4 years in a row. So each year, New Year's, it'd be different people there, celebrities or whatever. I saw Irv Gotti in there. One time when I was coming in to set up, he was there. Um, and so I'm in there, and the owner, the manager's coming over to me and is like, that table over there's a table with like 15 young people, look like they're in their 20s, maybe even younger. And they was like, that's the JP Morgan family. So, and they're spending a lot of money. So, you know, make sure you make them happy. And, JP Morgan Chase, owns Chase Bank. But it wasn't the older people, it was like the kids. So it was like the trust fund kids of JP Morgan. And they were obnoxious, like making noise, standing on the chairs. And a dude was coming over to me asking for requests of songs. Some of the songs were a little weird. And if I had it, I would play it. But I remember thinking to myself, like, I'm really bending over backwards a little bit to accommodate these obnoxious youngsters. They were kind of obnoxious. Like you could tell they had a lot of money to spend and it wasn't theirs. Like you ever see somebody like, I don't care, it ain't my money. That was the vibe. So they just was buying bottles and the place that was hosting this event, they was loving it. But for me, and the guy was coming over and he had like a 20. So every time he came over to me, he had like a $20 bill. And I was like, yeah, could you throw this on and hand me a 20? Yeah, could you throw this on and hand me a 20? And so he had like 6 requests. So I made like $120 in like half an hour of him trying to show off for his friends. But I just remember that the JP Morgan youth was obnoxious. That story just came to my mind thinking about requests and getting paid. Beyond the Matrix, KP, remember Sweet G, Games People Play? Games People Play. That was a jam back in New York and especially uptown in the Bronx. Quick trivia, the guy, Sweet G, who made Games People Play, was a counselor at my brother's group home. When my brother lived in the group home in the Bronx, please get the book, y'all. But my brother lived in a group home in the Bronx, and this was like a year after Games People Play came out. So this was like almost, it could still come on the radio. And that guy, Sweet G, was a counselor. So he was KRS-One's counselor, youth counselor, Sweet G, and I met him. And I remember thinking to myself, why does he have a job? He has a record on the radio. Isn't he rich? Like, I thought if you had a record on the radio, you were rich. And Games People Play was all over the radio in New York. So I thought, like, he was rich. I was like, maybe he's just doing it out of charity, working with, you know, troubled youth. But no, that was his job. So big up Sweet G, the counselor for KRS back in the day. Uh, Beyond the Matrix said the tunnel was wilding back in the 90s. Yeah, more to me, more in the later 90s, it got real ghetto. The tunnel was not as wild as Latin Quarters Union Square, but it was wild. But security in the tunnel, they used to regulate. But please, you guys, if you have not seen my epic fails, The Tunnel, it might have been the last epic fail or one of the last epic fails I've done. So it was a few months ago. Please check it out. I go into detail about my times in the tunnel. I used to be in the tunnel a lot. A lot. Ajax says Prince is untouchable. He is. Explicit said, did you meet Michi Me? I know KRS shared the stage with her. Question to Kenny. Yes. I mean, KRS and Scott produced Michi Me's first song, I believe. Or when she got signed to First Priority, Scott and KRS produced her song. Yeah, I met Michi Me later on. I think we did a show in Canada and she was there. We didn't, I didn't talk to her, get a chance to talk to her, but um, got a chance to meet her. We are in overtime, y'all. I'll go a little bit longer. Mr. Jones says, peace, Kenny. Thanks for blessing us with your time. Love your book. Is there any footage of you hooping in college? There is one clip. I'd have to find the link of us in my last regular season game. We played against LaSalle University, and I only played for like 3 minutes. It was on ESPN, and there's a clip. I gotta find you the link, Mr. Jones. There's a clip, and I hit a jump shot in that game. I hit a jumper from the free throw line in that game right before they took me back out. But that's the only footage I've ever seen of me hooping in college. I gotta get you that link. Sharon says, peace, Kenny. These 3 words is a tearjerker. Yeah, with the video. Yes, remember that video? Jungle Fever is a slept-on Stevie album. Yes. Stevie was still rocking in 93. Keep in mind, Little Stevie Wonder came out in 1965. He was 15. Clap your hands just a little bit long. Little Stevie Wonder came out in 1965. And in 1993, he was still on the radio. Crazy longevity. I don't know if anybody could tap that. Explicit said Prince was in charge of the Batman soundtrack, I heard. Talk about power, yeah. I mean, he was on Warner Brothers, and I think the Batman movie was Warner Brothers, I think. And Prince was a giant star, and he did Purple Rain and Under the Cherry Moon. Let him have the soundtrack. The song off of there was Scandalous, right? That was the jam. Scandalous. um, let's see. Rod Justice says children's story had the crumb line. Crumbs. Yes. Um, let's see. Q Storm says, KP, did you know that Prince was the reason that Michael Jordan signed a deal with Nike when he got out of college? No, I didn't know that. No, I did not know that. Um, let me scroll down a little bit. I'm gonna scroll down a lot of bit. The Benny Doyle scroll down. I'm at the very bottom. Um, let's see. Gerganetta said guard sham guard hit Kenny with the crossover. No, I never played against guard sham guard. Um, that dude's handle was so nice. They got a dribble named after him. The sham guard. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine he's a coach, by the way. I think he coaches in the NBA. Could you imagine being alive and there's a dribble named after you called the sham guard? I saw Luka Doncic doing the sham guard the other day. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I never met him. He's a little after me, but Philly She says Stevie came out in 62. Wow. By 65 was already well established. Damn, I thought he came out in 65. I know um Little Stevie Wonder, I had that album, I think, from 65. I didn't know he came out in 62. Gee, that means by the time Jungle Fever came out, he had been a professional musician rocking for over 30 years. It's crazy. Patrick White says Sham is an assistant coach for Dallas with Kyrie. Ah, that makes sense. Um, let's see. I'm at the bottom. I'm gonna jump off in a little while, y'all. I just wanna see if there's any comments, up-to-date comments that I miss. Um, Mike Rock says the R. Kelly track Gotham City was featured in the movie Batman and Robin. I like that song. I like the remix. Gotham City for the ghetto, ghetto. That was dope. Damn, R. Kelly, man. Um, oh, shoot. Look at this. KP, what's good, brother? Let's see. What's good, brother? Keep up the great work. BDP Breeze team. What up, Ruff? I still got some of your vocals in the computer, Ruff. Um, Ruff is part of the Breeze team who used to dance with BDP. If you seen BDP from like 97 on, we had, I think, the best dancers in hip hop, the Breeze team. Shout out to Ruff, shout out to Nice, J-Day, shout out to Lizard. That was the squad, man. We had a lot of fun. Oh man, what up, Ruff? Oh man. Patrick Glass says, KP, are you watching a fight tomorrow night? I don't think so. I have some stuff to do tomorrow. Um, all right, yo, I'm jumping off. Uh, we're in overtime, but I'm gonna jump off. Um, I have a beat. I keep saying I'm gonna do epic fails. I got two good ones. I just haven't had a chance to record them and put them up, but I am gonna drop a new beat on Sunday morning. That's already done. And for those that's just checking in, this is the DJ Kenny Parker Show, the Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big up to the Rewind crew who's going to check this out later on. And please, please, please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. MK Ultra says, remember when Stevie did the reggae track Master Blaster? Yeah, he met Stevie Wonder. I mean, he met Bob Marley and was so uh, captivated by Bob Marley, another incredibly talented artist, that he did a song tribute to him called "The Master Blaster." Dun 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 dun. Stevie has done it all, man. All right, y'all. I'm at the very bottom. I'm scrolling down. I see peace, 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 everybody. All right. I'll catch you guys on God willing on Tuesday, 8 p.m. All right, y'all. Peace.